Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. It is so wonderful to have you here today. Before we dive into this truly incredible story from the natural world, I want to take a moment to send out my very best wishes to you and your loved ones. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, I genuinely hope you are happy, safe, and in the very best of health. Let's begin. Imagine you are incredibly, unbearably thirsty. Your throat is dry, the sun is beating down, and you need a drink of water more than anything. Now, imagine if you could actually hear the faint, refreshing trickle of a hidden stream somewhere nearby. Without a second thought, you would turn and walk, maybe even run, straight towards that wonderful sound. We take this ability for granted. We have ears that capture sound waves and a brain that interprets them, guiding us to what we need most. Now, hold on to that thought, because I am about to tell you something that will forever change the way you look at the quiet, seemingly still world of plants. Scientists have discovered that some plants can do exactly this. They can, in their own unique way, hear the sound of water and deliberately grow their roots towards it. This isn't science fiction, it's solid, peer-reviewed botany. It suggests that the line between the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom is far more blurred and fascinating than we ever thought, and it opens up a whole new dimension of understanding about how life on Earth truly operates. To really wrap our heads around this mind-blowing concept, we first need to understand a few things about plants. We often see them as passive objects, just sitting there, soaking up sunlight, waiting for rain to fall on them. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Plants are dynamic, active living beings. They are constantly monitoring their environment, making decisions, and reacting to changes. This ability to sense and respond to the world around them is crucial for their survival. They can't get up and move to a better spot, so they have to be experts at adapting right where they are. They sense the direction of sunlight and bend their stems and leaves to maximize photosynthesis. Their roots sense gravity, knowing to grow down into the soil, and they can sense nutrients in the earth, growing more roots in the direction of a rich patch of fertilizer. They can even sense touch. Think of the Venus flytrap snapping shut or the sensitive plant Mimosa pudica folding its leaves when you touch it. They communicate with each other by releasing chemical signals into the air and through vast underground networks of fungi nicknamed the Wood Wide Web, warning their neighbors of attacking insects. So, when we learn that they might also sense sound, it starts to fit into a larger picture of plants being far more perceptive and complex than we gave them credit for. The specific sense we're dealing with here is hearing, or more accurately, the detection of vibrations. For us, hearing is about our ears capturing sound waves, which are essentially vibrations traveling through a medium, usually air. These vibrations hit our eardrum, which vibrates, and a complex system of tiny bones and hair cells in our inner ear translates those vibrations into electrical signals that our brain understands as sound. Plants, of course, don't have ears, a brain, or a central nervous system like we do. So, they can't hear a babbling brook in the way we experience it. They don't have a conscious experience of sound. What they are detecting are the physical vibrations that those sounds create. It's a more primitive, but incredibly effective, form of sensing the world. It's about feeling the vibrations directly through their cells and tissues. Think of it like this, if you put your hand on a speaker playing loud music, you can feel the vibrations. You're not hearing the music through your hand in the classical sense, but you are absolutely detecting the rhythmic vibrations it's producing. This is much closer to how a plant likely experiences sound, as a physical sensation. Now, the story of this discovery is a fascinating piece of science. The key research that brought this idea into the mainstream was conducted by a team of scientists in Australia, led by Dr. Monica Gagliano. Dr. Gagliano is an evolutionary ecologist who specializes in plant bioacoustics, literally, the study of sound in plants. Her experiments are elegant in their simplicity but profound in their implications. She worked with pea seedlings, a common subject for plant experiments. She wanted to see if their roots would respond to the sound of water. But she couldn't just use any sound of water, she had to be incredibly careful to rule out other factors. You see, water also has a smell and it changes the humidity of the air around it. A plant root might be growing towards higher humidity, not the sound itself. So, Dr. Gagliano and her team had to design an experiment that isolated the sound from everything else. They set up a clever contraption. They took a pot and gave the plant a choice. From one side, they would play a recording of water flowing through a pipe. From the other side, they would play either silence or a different sound, like white noise. But here's the genius part, the water sound was recorded and played through a speaker, so there was no actual water present, no change in moisture, no smell, no humidity difference. The only thing coming from that side of the pot was the vibration of the water sound. They even grew the plants in completely dry soil to eliminate any moisture gradients that could influence the roots. The results were stunning. The young pea seedlings consistently grew their roots towards the speaker playing the sound of flowing water. It was a clear, measurable preference. They were attracted to the vibration of the water itself. To double check, they also played the plants a recording of a different sound, a recording of silence, which they used as a control, and also white noise. The roots showed no particular interest in those sounds. They were specifically tuned into the frequency of water. This is a critical point. Sound isn't just one thing. It comes in different frequencies, which we perceive as different pitches. The gurgle of water has a specific frequency range. The researchers suggested that the roots were acting like a sort of ear, tuned to these specific frequencies that are biologically relevant to them. It makes perfect evolutionary sense. In the wild, the faint sound of water trickling through soil or an underground stream would be the most reliable signal that a source of water is nearby. Smell and humidity might be faint or misleading, but the vibrations carried through the earth would be a direct and clear beacon. A root that could sense those vibrations and grow towards them would have a massive survival advantage over a root that just grew randomly. It would find water faster, especially during dry periods, and that plant would be more likely to survive and pass on its genes. So, how do they do it? How does a root, without ears or a brain, actually detect and respond to a sound vibration? This is where the science gets really interesting, and while we don't have all the answers yet, biologists have some compelling theories. The leading idea involves something called mechanoreception. This is the ability of cells to sense mechanical forces, like pressure, stretching, or vibration. We have mechanoreceptors in our skin that let us feel touch. Similarly, plants have specialized cells that are incredibly sensitive to mechanical stimuli. The most likely candidates for sound detection are proteins embedded in the membranes of their cells. One famous type is the ion channel that is connected to a tiny, hair-like structure. When the hair is moved by a vibration, it tugs on the channel, which opens up like a gate. When this gate opens, it allows ions, which are electrically charged particles, to flood into the cell. This sudden influx of ions creates an electrical signal that travels through the plant's tissue. This is remarkably similar to how the hair cells in our own inner ear work. In a plant, this electrical signal could trigger a cascade of changes, ultimately instructing the root which direction to grow. This process might involve a famous plant hormone called auxin. Auxin is the master conductor of plant growth. It tells cells when to elongate, when to divide, and when to specialize. It is heavily involved in a plant's directional growth responses, which are called tropisms. For example, in phototropism, growing towards light, auxin accumulates on the shady side of a stem, causing those cells to elongate faster and bending the stem towards the light. Scientists suspect a similar thing happens with sound. The vibration from the water sound might cause oxygen to redistribute within the root tips, accumulating more on the side away from the sound. This would cause that side of the root to grow faster, effectively bending and turning the root towards the source of the vibration. It's a beautiful, elegant system that uses basic physics and biochemistry to solve a complex problem of navigation. But the story doesn't end with just finding water. This newfound understanding of plant bioacoustics has other darker, but equally important, implications. If plants can be attracted to the sound of water, what about other sounds? Another line of research has shown that the roots of some plants can also avoid certain sounds. In particular, they seem to be repelled by the sound of certain insect pests munching away. In experiments, scientists played recordings of caterpillar chewing vibrations to plants like the rock cress, a relative of cabbage and mustard. The plants responded by flooding their leaves with defensive chemicals, like mild toxins and compounds that make them less tasty, in anticipation of an attack. It was a preemptive defense triggered solely by the sound of chewing. This is an incredible survival strategy. By hearing the vibrations of a predator eating its neighbor, a plant can mobilize its chemical defenses before the insect even gets to it, giving it a crucial head start in the fight for survival. This brings us to a bigger, more philosophical question. Can we call this hearing? The scientific community is very careful with its language. Most biologists would say plants are sensing acoustic vibrations or detecting sound, avoiding the word hearing because it implies a conscious experience that we can't prove plants have. And they are right to be cautious. A plant does not have a mind to interpret the sound of water as refreshing or the sound of a caterpillar as scary. It is simply running a pre-programmed, evolutionary algorithm. If vibration frequency X is detected, initiate growth protocol Y. If vibration frequency Z is detected, initiate defense protocol Q. It is a mechanical, biochemical response. However, from a functional perspective, the outcome is the same as if it had heard and decided. The root finds water. The leaf avoids being eaten. The effect on the plant's survival is identical. So, while we must be scientifically precise, it's also okay to be amazed and to use the word here in a metaphorical sense to help our human brains grasp the incredible sophistication of these organisms. This discovery isn't just a cool trivia fact, it has real-world applications that could change how we care for our planet and grow our food. Imagine the future of agriculture. Farmers could use this knowledge to design more efficient irrigation systems. Instead of flooding entire fields, what if we could use subterranean speakers to play specific water frequencies, gently guiding root systems to grow deeper and stronger towards a controlled water source? This would conserve a massive amount of water, a precious resource that is becoming increasingly scarce. We could also use sound to help plants defend themselves. Playing recordings of predatory insects or even the sounds that predatory wasps make when they lay eggs in caterpillars could trigger a plant's natural defenses, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. We could be moving towards an agriculture that works with plant biology, using sound as a tool to promote health and growth in a completely non-invasive, natural way. Furthermore, this changes our relationship with the natural world in a profound way. For centuries, we have viewed plants as the passive backdrop to the animal drama of life. We now know they are active participants in their environment, sensing, communicating, and responding to a world rich with information that is invisible to us. The ground beneath our feet is not silent. It is a vibrant highway of vibrational information. Roots are listening in, tuning into the whispers of water, the warnings of their neighbors, and the threats of predators. It is a hidden world of sensation happening all around us, all the time. The next time you are in a garden, a forest, or even just near a houseplant, take a moment to consider the complexity of the life in front of you. That tree, that flower, that blade of grass is not just sitting there. It is actively sensing its world. It is feeling the vibrations of your footsteps, the rumble of distant traffic, the hum of the wind, and the faint, magnetic call of water deep in the soil. It is a living, breathing, sensing organism on an incredible journey of survival, and we are only just beginning to understand its secrets. This revelation invites us to be more humble, more curious, and more respectful of the intelligent life that thrives all around us, life that experiences the world in ways we are only starting to comprehend. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of one of nature's most fascinating mysteries.